Hey, welcome back everyone. Today's video is going to be an updated PvP masterclass for the Longsword. This video is not going to just solely focus on parrying. It's going to show you more of how I would fight each weapon in a 1v1 situation. I'll go ahead and explain my thought process behind them, and then try and give you guys some tips and pointers about proper positioning, proper rhythm in the fights, how to get people to attack you in positions that are favorable to you in 1v1 situations. All right. Now, most of the people that helped me in this video are a lot of viewers. We did a Fight Agi event, and I had them fight me with all the different weapons, and then I tried to find some organic clips as well to share with you. That being said, there's a bit of a PSA. There's a lot of desync in the game. You have to take this with a grain of salt. You'll have to apply it in your own fashion in most of your games. I can't promise that parrying is going to be very consistent right now. Okay, guys? But let's go ahead. We'll hop into it. We're going to start with the arming sword. The first weapon probably most everyone ever used in the game. Now, in low gear, the arming sword doesn't have a lot of pressure in the trades. You can trade longsword left hits with this weapon consistently. You don't have to parry. However, if you're playing properly, you should be throwing in parry attempts, block attempts. You can see how throughout this fight, we're trading jump attacks, single thrusts, and then parrying in position. We pre-aim. We know he's going to jump. We've led him to this. He's been throwing this attack. You can see how we're shifting and how there's a little bit of desync, how we parry in a different position. That's what I'm talking about. But leading people into attacks by staggering your own rhythm and then aiming, playing around attacks that you think are going to happen is pretty crucial. You don't want to be static. You don't want to be a parry gremlin. You don't want to only use the parry because they're going to be able to hit around you. Even here against Knightly, he's blocking. He's blocking high. He's consistently, right, getting caught over the shield. So what to do? He aims high. We trade the low attack because we let him into that with the rhythm of our attacks. We took the aggressive approach and set the pace. Good luck. Have fun. Ooh. Thought I was out of range on that one. Good jump. We're going to trade here. And we'll throw all three. Missed. We'll try and hit this. Nope. Bad. Ooh, he's attacking low. All right, oh boys, we're just going to go under the shield if we can. There we go. Aim high. Get him in. Wrap it around. Space. Trade again. Ooh, I thought he was going to step in. We'll force it. I got to dodge to the right. Ooh, I thought I'd have him there. Swipe it. Good fight, Nightly. Good fight. So you can see in that fight how we didn't hit a single parry, right? And we still win the fight. Parrying isn't the end-all be-all of longsword, but it can really come up clutch when you need it, right? A big thing that you need to be doing when you're trading attacks like this is pre-aiming like this where you know you need to be parrying at, right? Because there is a bit of desync, so you have to give yourself the advantage in getting into position to catch the parry. Because as soon as you click that right button, that right click button, your sword becomes physical and they can hit it, right? We're going to jump in with Falchion now. We're fighting Falchion and Lantern Shield. You can see the spacing here, helped by our boy with the shield bash. If someone's aiming for your head or upper body with this kind of spacing, you can see how the parry is so far away from us. You're going to aim around shoulder height, head height, and you'll be able to catch that consistently. Now, I don't have very many feet attacks because I don't lead very many people into parrying feet attacks, right? Even good players aren't doing that. Even players that have several hundred hours, like my viewers, who all play longsword and play against longsword, no. Again, always try to take the aggressive advantage. Trade your first thrust. Your thrust on longsword has reach. It can combo with bunny hopping well, and then it leads to opportunities like this where you can lead them into a spot that you can parry, right? So we trade. We know he's going to trade with us because we went aggressive. He's going to aim up rather than our feet. We aimed off the screen to catch that hard, far parry from that first Falchion. Right? Being aggressive, using your thrust, setting up a position that people will attack you that is favorable to you, rather than having the parry a foot attack, you trade DPS and force them to have to trade DPS with headshots or else they'll lose. Good players aren't going to just attack your feet either, right? And here, again, the desync. I know you've seen this, guys. I know it's happened to you a lot. I know it's consistently probably happened to you a lot. I mean, even I thought I had that one. That's why I'm spamming the block button, right? And again, here, he tried to accelerate this. You hear the ting. He hits the ground. This might have been in the wind-up. So this one's okay to miss. But there's a lot of desync, guys. There's no two ways about it. There's a lot of desync, man. So desync used to be like 150 milliseconds. From what I've tested with my buddy off stream, it's like between 70 and 110 right now. So better, but like better, who knows? No, Banshee, we're on East. All right, last one. Good luck, brother. I like Gamer Girl 96 going off, huh? Space it out, space it out. Ooh. Space it out, DPS trade. DPS trade, space it out, catch. Like right here, you can see, I thought I was going to catch the parry. I even started talking, catch the parry. Didn't catch the parry because of desync. Like, this one's pretty rough, right? This is happening consistently. DPS trade, space it out, catch the parry. Ooh, right through. There's really nothing you can do about the desync. We're just going to have to wait on Iron Mace to figure that out. It's more than just desync. I think it's hitboxes as well. There's just nothing we do about it. So we persevere. We learn to play around it. We learn to play properly with our longsword, all right? Rather than being a parry gremlin, we trade our DPS. We bait people in the positions that are favorable, right? This time we're fighting old Stash Boy. We've been trading. He's being passive. He knows that we keep trading. We've been aggressive. What's he do? Tries to cop a Falchion headshot. What do? We pre-aim, we anticipate, we catch our parry, right? He does a great job reacting and blocking. We catch another parry as we're crouching, and then we catch a baloney parry, which is just going to happen. Baloney parries are going to happen. Let's move on to the Morningstar. Arguably the best one-hand weapon in the game right now. Very easy to drag left and right. Very easy to accelerate with the attack pattern and the timings. You can see the hitbox is pretty scuffed as well. Anything under the halfway point to the hand almost never registers. The handle occasionally registers, but if it's too close to the hand, you won't catch it. Really, it's catch the mace head or bust 9 times out of 10. Now, you don't always need to parry it to win. It does have incredibly good DPS right now. You can see buffed up cleric with smite. We just have PDR and white armor. This thing's going to chunk us and slap us, but as long as we trade our DPS and manipulate our sword and don't catch our worst sour spot, we can actually trade with this weapon, okay? Longsword's DPS isn't great, but it's good enough to actually trade in a lot of these scenarios, especially when you push in and catch sour spot from the enemy's weapon. Now, the parry position that I use consistently for these weapons is a crouch left, look up right. I try to get their character model off the left of my screen. I try to get a crouch down. I look up far to the right, and this just works for most of the attack pattern because of how vertical the Morningstar's attack pattern is, right? You can see how it lines up here. This works very well. This is very consistent. I've had incredible success the past week testing this, leading up to doing this video, okay? This is something you guys should be making use of. It works good with the Horseman's Axe, the Viking Axe, the Flanged Mace, the Hatchet, anything with a vertical attack. Very good. Very good. Very successful. You can see here how we're spacing the boy. We're baiting him into attacking us. When he walks up, we hit him with the crouch. Left, look up right. It works. Works good. Now he has to react too. Don't forget, the Morningstar only has 160 milliseconds of attack frame. That's 0.16 seconds. So he has to react to you randomly curving aside as well like this. So that's why it has a lot of benefit for us. Okay. We'll jump into the Flanged Mace. Another thing that we should be doing, that you should be practicing, is timing these 180 lookup parries. Okay. Now these work with only really overhead attacks. Okay. But the bread and butter for parrying felling axe is definitely this attack, which we'll get into later in the video. It works on the Morningstar. It works on the Flanged Mace, but you don't need to do it, right? But what you do need to do is crouch parry. You can see how we're trading with our buddy here. We're crouch parrying. His hand catches our hand, limb damage. The upper part of his mace ends up catching our longsword in some random way somehow. But because we're aiming in that position, we managed to catch and trade it. Crouch parry is super beneficial in a lot of cases. That's it. Run, chicken! Run! Blast! What's up, motherfucker Jones? You like that blast arena? Oh, settle back. A quick desync showcase. You can see the Flanged Mace crossing paths with the longsword here. It's literally 8 frames later when we get movement notice on the longsword from the parry. Now, this was desync at a decent spot, and it's significantly worse right now. Oh, settle down, settle down. Whoop! Whoop! Ooh, nice jump block, brother. We'll do a little DPS trade. We'll do a little time skip, super hacks parry. Chicken! Another thing to keep in mind is almost like a time parry function, right? With your spacing. See how we are just standing here. This guy walks up to, he's like, oh, we're just going to blast him. We sidestep. You can see his attack going to the right. This is where the parry hits over there. This is something you can do pretty consistently, guys. Like, this works. Timing it with your movement. Again, like I said, people still have to react to your movement with their attack frames, and their attack frames are short. One more showcase of the push left, crouch look up right parry. I'm telling you guys, this is it. This is it for these maces and stuff. Make sure you're giving this a try, okay? And this is another thing with timing, though. And it works. It does. It works. Okay? We're going to hop into the Rapier. This is a bard, buffed up, all his songs. And we are going to try and catch some parries. And you're just not going to catch them very often. You can see how our boy Retro is attacking our feet a lot. This gives us a DPS advantage. Rapier doesn't have a sour spot, but even still, it just, you don't need to. You don't need to parry to trade with it. However, as you gear up higher and higher, the Rapier's DPS increases significantly over the longsword, right? Because of how fast it attacks. It does end up taking a favorable spot over yours. There's not much you can do about it. However, the parry position that's most consistent is the second attack aiming off the right of their body. Okay? You can see how it intersects here on our boy. It's pretty solid. That's about the only attack that's going to work. Okay? And you don't get that attack very often thrown at you. Most rogues aren't going to do it. They're going to drag it around. There's not much you can do about it. You need a DPS trade, but if you're going to catch it, that's the position. You can see PB here is going to try and accelerate this a bit. We pre-aim off the right over his shoulder. We catch it even with him crouching. We're crouching as well ahead of time because we know he's going to do it. And we catch it. So it's possible to catch him, guys. 100%, right? Even here, this guy comes around the corner. We're aiming high off the right. Well, he's coming across our left. And we're catching it. This is really the only reliable way, okay? Club is terrible. The club is terrible. I don't know what else to say. It's got weird hitboxes. It has a very far reach forward, so it's hard to parry up close. It has a 70% sour spot. So what you do is you DPS trade the club. Now, you can parry the club. It's a horizontal attack. It can be parried. It definitely is doable. It's very rare that you need to do it. If you're fighting a barb, they're going to use Savage Roar. They're going to use Rage. You're going to run away. You're going to try and fight them when that's down only, right? We're not looking at fighting classes. We're looking at fighting weapons, right? The weapon has a bad sour spot. So you DPS trade. However, you can see because of the wide attack, you need to aim far off the left if you're in close to catch anything. And we catch kind of a wild parry here. I think we catch the later part of the attack. I'm not really sure. I can't really promise and tell you how that happened. But I do know that anyone attacking your feet is going to be trading bad DPS, and you need to be making sure that you are trading better DPS by aiming at their head, okay? Now, let's look at this fight. This is PB again, spacing us, making use of his kit as a cleric, healing, trying to get advantages. On the stairs, we know he's aiming low. We managed to catch the low parry. He spaces. The next one, we try and catch it. We aim off screen, and we manage to trade the riposte. All right, good luck. Warhammer trumps us, chat. But as long as we set it up for him to swing at us, we can get in the right position to catch a parry with the crouch parry looking to the left. Let's look back at this fight with Stash. He's got a Warhammer. Warhammer has really good DPS, actually. It just doesn't really ever get a chance to deal that because it has no range. You can see us circling and trying to lead the rhythm of this fight. We're trading our attacks until we get a chance to get another parry attempt at the first attack. First attack is the most consistent for parrying. We preemptively aim left. We're crouching and setting this up. Now, the rhythm of the fight led us to this point. This is why it's so important that you need to not be static and be just attacking during positioning, okay? Because while we were attacking, we got DPS down and we positioned ourselves into a spot where we could actually parry an attack with consistency to give us the advantage. The rhythm of each fight matters a lot, right? Trading damage, leading people into attacking you into favorable positions like here, okay? More so than anything else with the Warhammer parries, rhythm is important. And it matters for all weapons and all fights.
All right, ready to go?
Good luck. Little drag, easy parry, jump attack, kills him. Viking Sword's got it rough, bro. Viking Sword's got it rough, bro. Alright, let's take a look at Horseman's Axe. I don't have any real hatchet parries. I haven't seen a hatchet in a while. I know people are running around with it, but it's going to play exactly the same way as this Horseman's Axe, okay? When we talk about rhythm, again, we poked Knightly. Knightly came back, tried to trade some damage with us. We caught the parry immediately because we poke, parry position, pre-aim, right? This is something you need to try and make a habit out of. Be aggressive, lead the engagement, set it at your pace, right? Knightly does a better job here of being aggressive, of spacing us out, of not taking free damage, and of not getting caught with free parry attempts, right? I'm trying to catch him with some spacing attacks to lead him into an attack for us here. Now, he's finally coming in. You can see we're going to catch the very bottom of the Horseman's Axe on this attack as he's crouching and trying to accelerate it by looking down. He does a good job spacing out. We're very static. We don't land our riposte, okay? Again, this time he swings under us. He hits a crouch and aim down. This is great. This is Knightly playing it perfect. However, you can see the damage he dealt, which is 0, right? And then we trade a thrust that trades a lot of damage back, okay? This is why you need to be trading your thrusts and trading your attacks. That was me trying to hit the 180. It was kind of a weird parry. Like I said, desync works both ways sometimes, man. It's hard to tell when things happen on purpose. The best you can do is kind of lead it into a favored coin flip in your advantage, right? By being in the right position with the right spacing. A little organic clip of fighting a guy in real combat. Again, hitting our attack, crouch left, look up right. This is the bread and butter, I'm telling you guys. Flanged Mace, Morningstar, Hatchet, Horseman's, Viking Sword. Crouch left, look up right, parry, smack, smack, full send. It works so well, boys. It really does, okay? It really does. Here, we're fighting someone in the 124 lobby. He's optimized pretty well. We got our 1,000 gold kit. He catches us with Achilles. We're stuck. We're spacing with our left facing him because we want this position. When we finally catch the rhythm of his attack that's favorable to us, we crouch, we look up, we catch the parry because we were spacing properly while running from his pursuit by keeping our left to him to get us into an easy parry position when it finally set up for us, okay? We'll take a look at Shortsword real quick, which is, well, terrible. It's not very good right now. The weapon's been nerfed a lot. It's been changed a lot. You can see the attack frames are very short. It'll phase through very often. The DPS on it's not very good anymore. You're just going to trade with it. Just go in and trade with it. Even with ambush from PB here, it don't have it. It really doesn't. It doesn't have armor pen. It doesn't have enough damage to really be a threat. Don't parry it. Left click through it every time. Just every single time. Stat check it. Now, one of the most important weapons you need to be playing against because they are everywhere is the felling axe. Now, we got Eames here with the felling axe. He knows longsword. All he does is play longsword. Everybody knows felling axe. You run in and chop, right? So, one good way to set up felling axe is to push in, push off to the right, get them to the left, and look up to the left. This is the one facing forward parry that I use on this weapon. It's very spacing dependent, but it can work, okay? It can work pretty well, actually. I've had good consistency with it, but it is very reliant on spacing. The proper way to engage with this weapon is to space. Trade your thrusts, space, trade your thrusts, space, trade your thrust. They will try and be aggressive if they're a good player. Just like Eames is trying to be aggressive. Eames even hits a great crouch. He spaces out. We try to catch the parry, too static. We missed it. Our timing was off, but we had an advantage in HP from trading properly while spacing. All right, Bert. Good luck. Have fun. Now, that's what Eames did as well. Man, Felling Axe DPS is wild. Like, he almost wins that still, despite getting parried on the very first one, you know what I mean? Felling Axe DPS is crazy. So let's look at the most consistent way for parrying the Felling Axe, which is the crouch 180 lookup parry. Which sounds kind of wild, but it really works. Now, we trade with old Bert here in melee until we get to a spot with the timing and the rhythm where we can crouch. We look up to the left. You can see how well this aligns as he comes across and hits us, right? This parry works so well. It's very timing reliant. That's why we talk about rhythm throughout this video, because it's very important to catch that rhythm in your fights and lead it. But you can see in these clips, it's just even in bad situations, it can clutch up very well. You need to be careful when you miss it. Felling Axe DPS will kill you. It is so good. The DPS is just so good. It is always worth parrying a Felling Axe because you can trade good DPS against theirs. Okay. Battle Axe is pretty mid. Obviously, you fought it a lot. I fought it a lot. Barbs have fought it a lot. They all hate it. Everyone hates it. Weapon sucks. It has weird hitboxes as well. You can see here, desync, hitbox, don't know, goes through. Unfortunate. Jump attacks really exacerbate this issue. There's really nothing you can do about it, right? We end up losing a DPS trade. We try and make adjustments for the next fight, right? The jump attacks, clearly we can't aim low. We have to aim higher when they're jump attacking. We're leading this fight. We're spacing it out. We know he's jump attacking. We're going to crouch and look straight up. Now this puts more of the longsword along the hitbox of the battle axe as well, because the longsword's sticking straight up and the battle axe has a very vertical attack pattern and hitbox. So we managed to catch it with the extra real estate that we have by sticking the longsword straight up. Jump attacks are kind of finicky. They play in the attacker's favor heavily. Something that I tell you not to do is be a parry gremlin, but holding your parry for half a second to a second sometimes is very beneficial and works well. Like we did here to Stash. We held it. We aimed from right to left. He caught a different part of that at some point in his attack. Through the desync, it played in our favor. Okay. Something you need to be doing against this weapon. Battle Axe has terrible range, just like Felling Axe. Slightly better, but also terrible. Is space, and then lead your engagements. Now, this is a weird parry. Okay. We aimed off screen here, but you can see the ting. The ting from the parry is way to our right. Now, this parry went through like when we first clicked the parry or the block button, right? Desync's pretty bad. It plays pretty unenjoyably for everyone involved when it's like this. Double axe here, you can see in this freeze frame that's coming up how the parry is going to hit up here at our hands in this frame right here. This is the frame where he's hitting on his screen. You can see the ting is back up further away from us. That's desync. But that's why we want to try and be anticipating where they're attacking, anticipating and pre-aiming so that we can catch these kind of parries, okay? Even playing against Tumbleweed here, you know, we're spacing, we're trading damage, we're trying to get him into a spot where we can parry. Our parry here is in this frame. We clicked, it's barely a tenth of a second after clicking. You could see the ting is way up in that spot where our hands were pre-crouch. This is why we're aiming, and this is why we're clicking and trying to get into a position where we can catch a parry, even when we have to use almost guesswork, anticipation. Now, the Bardiche, you can get with a 180 parry pretty consistently, okay? The 180 parry works very well with it. The best way probably to deal with it is actually the 180 parry. Now, it's hard because really good players are going to be able to accelerate the Bardiche very well. The second attack is actually pretty consistent for parrying as well. The third attack has a long attack duration, which, well, plays in our favor because there's a lot of time for us to catch this third attack, especially with it being horizontal. coming from our left, which puts our arms in front when we're parrying, so it almost always does limb damage for us to be able to catch it, right? Again, you're going to want to be reacting. We pre-aim, we catch the parry while we're in DPS trade mode with retro. We take our victory over Bardiche. Okay. Parrying Bardiche against players that don't accelerate it is actually very easy. Again, a time parry with a sidestep. I mentioned this against the Morningstar stuff earlier. These poor Timmies, they don't know. We do it back to back on them, right? It's just a little sidestep with a time parry. You aim above their head. If they're not accelerating it, this is the spot to parry it. This will work against very, very, very many players in the game right now. But you will come across people that will just not let that happen. Just like my boy Chase here, who came to the stream after we had this very fun fight, actually. Now, we both traded. We got rid of our pots. We're popping new pots. He's got Potion Chugger because I hit him with a Windlass. Obviously, that dealt a little more damage than his throwing axe. He popped Savage Roar. You know, he spaced out my abilities. I'm spacing out his. We're trying to get a little bit of an advantage. Now, neither of us is going to wait for our abilities to come back up here. And we're going to end up forcing the fight. I try and play around the PvE parry here with the skeleton. He knows. He spaces it out. He knows he's not dealing with that. And then he comes in. And this part right here is clean. He accelerates this attack very well. You can see how it phases through the longsword. We're still in the wind-up phase of the Bardiche because he's looking at the ground. You can hear him hit the ground because he accelerated down. But we catch a parry on the second attack because the hitbox is so big. So when they're accelerating, you tank that first hit. You crouch, look upright, parry the Bardiche thrust. Okay. Dream walk. Right, you can time it, chat. You see the timing? There's timing potential if you anticipate where he's going to attack. And I'm going to attack low to try and... Ooh, I'm surprised that hit. I'm surprised that hit him! Oh, wow, that missed. Also missed. That one we read. Yeah, so the second attack is normally the best to parry, chat. Right, for spear. It comes on a little bit of an upward angle, so when you get across, there's more chance to hit more of the spear hitbox on the longsword hitbox, right? So let's take a look at spear and the hitbox with the third attack here. Because you can see how ridiculously inconsistent this attack actually is. You really can't parry anything anywhere within like the bottom half of the weapon, which is frustrating. And then the animations just do not line up at all. And this is one game, obviously, right? I tested it again about 6 other times. This attack consistently does this early attack on animation. It's not the server. It's literally just the weapon, it seems like. So I'm not sure what's going on Iron Mace's end. Okay. And you can see the accelerating, again, with the wind-up manipulation. The spear third attack is actually really good for that specifically, especially in the longsword. Like you can see here, like this is wild, right? But look how early it's hitting us. So several frames early, and then it still phases through the longsword. Spear's third attack is not something that you actually want to try and parry. It has a way shorter attack range than the 2 thrusts. Your best option, if you miss the parry on the second one, you space back out and reset the fight as best you can until you can push back in, either tank the first, dodge the first, or look to parry the second again, okay? Honestly, the spear has pretty low, I think it has lower DPS if they throw the 1, 2, 3 attack than longsword, but I can't promise you should be trading it with just left clicks, okay? Try and catch that second attack parry and full send from there. Now, Halberd. This is an organic fight. Little random demon lock, bro. He's chilling. I bopped him. I seen he had a halberd. I wanted to fight him. We let him do his thing. He healed up. Now, this isn't someone that fights longsword. He doesn't accelerate this first attack at all. You can see how we kind of time it here. My timing's a little off, right? Trying to anticipate the desync. You can see how it catches all the way on the side like that. We take, I think, torso damage. If it was headshot damage, it would deal a lot more. The first attack, if they don't try and accelerate it or drag it, is very easy to parry, right? It has a nice long hitbox, but it's also very easy to accelerate through the longsword parry. So you won't often get to parry it, okay? The horizontal attacks from the right click, you can see here how far over we're aiming. We don't parry in this position. You can see how at the very start of where we parried is where we're actually getting a registration from on Eames' end. Eames spaces it back out properly, gets greedy, trying to hit an attack, thinking I was going to trade because I normally do. We end up catching it, and we trade our easy riposte because he can't space it out this time because we're closer. Halberd is very spacing reliant when you're fighting it. Now, the weapon has a horrible sour spot, right? 50% damage. It's brutal. It has really awesome mix-up potential, but, well, the mix-up potential kind of gets lost when you lose half your damage on every other attack. So Halberd's got a little rough, okay? Second attack parry is probably your best option still. They'll accelerate the first one if they're good. They won't throw the second one. They'll do these side attacks with the right click. But again, you can see, get in there, DPS, you will win the trade, okay? Chat, don't do what Io did. Don't do what Io did. If you get parried and you want to dodge it, you just walk your head down 360 or 180. Io crouched and then was a turtle. Io crouched into turtle mode to get squished. Don't crouch and turtle, just walk and look down. So the Warmaul is pretty odd right now, especially when you manipulate the attack with your camera. See how Io's just swinging wild nonsense at us? You don't even see the animation go through. It's like the server isn't keeping up with the actions on his client's end, okay? And this is one of the issues with, I think, the meshes on the weapons and how they interact with the server while people are manipulating things. Look at this parry. Like, it didn't even look, his weapon didn't swing forward, and we just magically parried. Like, come on, Iron Mace. Let's figure out something a little better than this. Maybe add a turn cap. I don't care, something. But, as you can see, if you're aiming in the right spots for the attack, anticipating low drags with the Warmaul or anything, you can literally parry attacks that you don't even see go through. Now, Cleric Warmaul you don't see very often. It's actually really good. But when there's Morningstar in the game, there's no real reason to use it right now. So, you can manage to fight this thing pretty consistently. It's got a bad sour spot as well, the Warmaul. But if you greed and you don't trade your damage properly, or you greed on your abilities, you can definitely lose. You have good DPS with Longsword still, especially the 1-2-3 DPS is, you know, decent in comparison to others, right? The 1-2 DPS is horrible, but we're banking on throwing all three attacks when we're trading like that. Now, a lot of Warmaul players and a lot of people that know how to fight Longsword will always hit your feet with this weapon. They know, you see Banshee here, and again, we greeted. He aimed a little higher. He caught torso damage twice because we were spacing poorly, playing it very poorly, and you can see how quickly it can turn to a disadvantage, okay? Stay aggressive into the weapon. Try and bait them into a higher attack pattern so that you can parry rather than having to stuff your sword in the ground, right? One more fight with old PB here. Trying to catch the Warmaul. We see him swing in. We aim a little lower this time with a little better timing on the rhythm of the fight. We get down into a better position with better spacing. And we walked him into this through our spacing, through our timing, while trading damage with him. And then we managed to take the fight, right? By pushing into the sour spot of the Warmaul and trading our riposts. Okay. Zweihander is a weapon that you will see all the time. And it is very good in the longsword because it has an amazing, amazing ability to accelerate attacks. However, don't ever use the right click, Zweihander bros. The weapon stays physical for the entire duration and you cannot accelerate it. You will get parried. So, right click has value, just not in the longsword bros. Poor Zweihander bros. Now, how do you fight this? It's the same as everything else. Rhythm. Get into the sour spot. Bait out the thrust if you can. Don't let them space you. They will take the advantage. The Zweihander has wildly good DPS, actually. And we do not have the ability to match that without riposte. So, we try and bait him into a position to catch parries on that thrust like we just showed. The thrust has a good size hitbox. It's actually really consistent for parrying especially if you time things like we've been talking about, like with the Morningstar and like with the other vertical attacking weapons, right? You see how we're ducking under the attacks from our buddy here, Falchion, and it's working, right? Here again, we're spacing out. He's missing us. This is the optimal way to parry. I can't say I did it on purpose, but I was spacing, trying to create an opportunity like this. You can see how it plays in our advantage, right? We've parried literally only thrusts so far, right? Now, parrying thrusts only isn't the only way to obviously parry. I think it is the most consistent. But you can see here our Barb Bro, Barb main, pushing in, another thrust parry, timed, crouched, looking off the side, looking up, right? And you can see where he's aiming, right? And he tried to drag it down, but he had already been caught by the parry through the drag, okay? Now, he tried to space out. We have counterattack. We have shield mastery. Normally, you can just walk away. He crouched for half a second, which slowed him down. He might have got away from the second riposte. But counterattack shield mastery is literally the only way to actually catch people that don't want to be caught, right? Now, you can see the spacing right here, how we're aiming directly at him rather than looking to the side too much. This keeps the longsword in a position that the Zweihander is going to hit if he accelerates the attack into us, which he did. So the only reason we catch that parry is because we didn't aim too far and he didn't accelerate past it. So sometimes when you're playing a good player, you need to just aim at them. You need to take the hit, you know, take the hit on the chin, get your riposte, and then trade your better DPS, right? Again, another thrust parry, a wildly good duck by my boy, a good duck by me afterwards. Again, the timed ducks and stuff is really good, okay? They only have 0.16 seconds, you know, for an attack frames, okay? So ducking works, timing works. Again, here, crouching up and looking up on this thrust when they're off to your left is good. It puts your hands in the path of their attack pattern, right? So if they're having advantage, you're in a clutch situation, they're on your left instead of your right, you want to crouch and look up left and get that longsword across and get your hands up. All right, let's take a look at some longsword on longsword violence, okay? This is a fun matchup a lot of you longsword bros have gotten probably very often. You know how it works, catching those thrusts, catching those first attacks, those second attacks. But you can see here, fighting my boy, desync. It's going to happen. The second attack is normally the most consistent weapon attack to parry with longsword. The third's not bad either, but when desync happens, there's nothing you can do about it. You just roll with the punches. So if you're a longsword bro, you're fighting a longsword bro, you almost never want to throw out that second attack. It's very easy to get parried, right? So what do? You bait out the first attack. If they jump attack, you crouch and look up left. If they're aiming low, you normally want to aim down left and low. It's easier to drag from right to left with the longsword into other longsword parries, right? So if they're aiming low on that first thrust, you want to aim low to the left to give them less space, less real estate to try and sneak it through. You saw us here, that second attack parry, very consistent on that one. It's hard to throw it out. I don't have any clips of throwing out specifically purposefully giving parries because you can do a lean back play. I probably should have, but you guys have seen it. You'll see it on my channel more often. Maybe I'll do a little more in-depth, but that's all there is to longsword. There's a lot more longsword content on my channel. I'm not going to go too into depth with it. Now, quarterstaff. You won't see it very often. When you do, you're going to tank the first hit and try and parry the second. If you miss the second, you're going to tank the third hit and try and parry the fourth hit. Okay? You can see here, that's the position that we actually parry in. You'll see where we're aiming here in this frame, but you see way over to the right. That was where our hands were in that first freeze frame, right? So desync's pretty bad. It's hard to play around it. You're creating a loaded coin flip is what you're doing by spacing, by aiming, pre-aiming properly, and stuff like that, all right? I really can't tell you that it's consistent. There's our fourth attack parry, though, right? This is PB trying to accelerate it. You can see him looking straight at the ground. The fourth attack has a pretty short windup and a long attack frame for the position that it starts in. So it's pretty easy to parry and hard to accelerate just by looking down, right? Obviously, PB's here. You know, the way he plays, he's trying to give us that realistic vibe. We chase each other across the module. It was a fun fight. It was pretty goofy. It was a good time on stream. Quarterstaff, you won't see very often. Again, you want to parry the first attack. The first attack can be accelerated well, but most people don't think. They just go in and start slapping with the weapon. Try and bait the first, parry the second, or bait the third, parry the fourth. Okay. Ceremonial staff, quickly, we'll just take a peek. It is very weird hitbox. It seems very tight. It doesn't seem like it's full on the weapon. Oh man, there's no reason to parry it. I just showing, like, we're just sitting here trying to parry the attacks as he's dragging them, and it's like, dude, there's no consistency here. Just poke him in the face. Just slap him with your longsword. Now, this staff is easier to parry than the magic staff, which I don't have in here because I don't want to teach you guys to parry the magic staff. You need to literally only press left click and fight the magic staff, okay? Do not be using other things, okay? You really just want a DPS trade with magic staff. You want a DPS trade with crystal sword probably at this point with the changes to the animations. I will try and get an update fight towards crystal sword animations after this, since they've been changed. We'll make just a one-off video on it, take a look at it. But that's really it. That's really it. I didn't show daggers. I'm not going to show daggers. All daggers play exactly the same. You jump attack, and you turn left and right while you're DPS trading, okay? That's really all you can do. And you hope and pray that your stats are better than the guy that's attacking with the dagger. And if it's a Rondel Dagger PDR Buckler guy, they probably aren't, because that shit is busted, okay? And there's no two ways about it. Okay, that's really all I got for this video. I will do a separate video for Druid animal form parries. I don't have enough clips of actually pairing them, despite having played for, you know, the past 2 months, because every Druid I come across 9 times out of 10 is being a rat form, runaway, nonsense, boring gameplay guy. So when I get more clips that are reliable and consistent, I'll make a video that's one-off, and I'll show it to you guys there. This video will cover every weapon in the game that matters, that you'll see consistently and be fighting consistently. Like I said, I left daggers off the table. There's no reason. You're literally just left-click fighting them. That's all you'll do. So that's it. Get out there. Go into the under 25s, slam your head into the wall, and practice your parries. However, if you hear only one thing from me in this 40-minute video, do not be a parry gremlin. Do not walk up to someone and hold right click. Be aggressive, lead the rhythm of the fights, create advantageous opportunities for yourself while you're fighting, through your spacing, through your mix-up, through your trading, through your timing, okay? You don't want to just be a little parry gremlin. You don't just want to walk up to a guy, kiss him by walking into him, and then pretending that you're going to bait out his attack because he's like, what is this guy doing? And he's just going to swing. You're going to react late. You're going to get hit. Do not hold right click. Get in the mix-up. Start spacing. Start playing with thoughtful engagements. Okay, guys? Like I said, go practice. The video can only teach you so much. You need to play the game to get better at the game. There's no two ways about it. And guess what? You're going to be doing it for hundreds of hours, okay? I'm at, I don't know, 1,800 if you include the playtest at this point, which might be a little lower than some content creators, but hey, I'm barely even a content creator. Let's be real. I'm out here just being a goofball 9 times out of 10, and then I occasionally put out a video to try and help you all learn a little better. I will catch you guys next time. I hope this helps. Get in the comments. Let me know if it helps. At this point, I'm sure no one's listening. Honestly, it's a 43-minute video. 44, 45. I don't know. It's a long video, guys. I know. Good luck. Have fun in the dungeon. Don't forget, it's a game. Just go have fun. You don't got to be in high roller. You don't got to listen to anyone telling you, you're fighting. No. Play the game how you want. Have a good time, okay? Okay, guys. All the best. I'll catch you guys next time. Take care and be safe.